Imagine a high-ranking British official caught in a fiery showdown with a taxi driver over a hefty fare bill. That's the shocking headline that kicked off this international incident involving David Lammy. But here's where it gets controversial. What started as a simple ride turned into accusations of theft, violence, and a courtroom battle that left everyone questioning who was really in the wrong. Let's dive into the details of this eye-opening story, breaking it down step by step so even newcomers to political dramas can follow along. The saga unfolded on April 11th when Nassim Mimun, a 40-year-old cab driver hailing from Avignon in southeastern France, ferried David Lammy, then serving as Britain's foreign secretary, and his wife, Nicola Green, over 600 kilometers, about 370 miles, from Forlì, a town near Bologna in northern Italy, all the way to the picturesque ski resort of Flaine nestled in the French Alps. Picture this, a long scenic journey through Europe, transitioning from Italian countryside to snowy mountain vistas, all meant to be a smooth transfer. But as the Bonneville prosecutor, Boris Defoe, explained in May, things went south when they arrived. The discussion about payment escalated into a heated argument, with tensions rising over the cost of the trip. Mimun didn't just drop off his passengers. Instead, he drove away with their luggage still in the trunk of his car. He eventually returned the bags the next day to a local municipal police station. However, this delay in returning the items led authorities to classify it as theft, given the extended time they were out of their owner's possession. The driver, in interviews with French media, painted a different picture. He claimed Lammy refused to cough up the full payment, and even alleged violence during the confrontation. Yet, prosecutors dropped the charges against Mimun on Monday, due to insufficient evidence to prove the theft. It's a classic case of he said, she said, where the lack of solid proof tipped the scales. On the other side of the story, the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCO, stepped in, stating that Lammy and his wife were the true victims here. They firmly denied that the Labour MP for Tottenham had refused to pay up, countering Mimun's narrative. Both parties lodged formal complaints, but only Lammy's held water legally, leading to Mimun facing charges for allegedly swiping cash and personal belongings from the high-profile couple. The driver's defense included claims that Lammy turned aggressive when confronted about owing €700, £590, out of a total €1,550 fare. The rest supposedly covered by a booking service's upfront payment. But Mimun insisted on receiving that portion in cash upon arrival, leaving everyone scratching their heads over the payment arrangement. To put this in context for those unfamiliar with such international trips, rides like this often involve complex logistics. Third-party booking platforms might handle initial payments, but drivers sometimes expect tips or additional fees in person, especially across borders where currencies and customs differ. For example, think of it like booking a rideshare app. You pay digitally, but the driver might request extra for tolls or luggage, potentially leading to misunderstandings that escalate quickly. Adding another layer, Lammy and his wife were fresh from joining King Charles and Queen Camilla on a state visit to Pope Francis in Italy, a diplomatic event that underscores the global nature of their itinerary. From there, they planned a relaxing private holiday in the Alps, only for this taxi dispute to overshadow their getaway. At the time, Lammy held the role of Foreign Secretary, but he later transitioned to Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister in September's cabinet reshuffle under Keir Starmer, a move that highlighted his rising influence in UK politics. And this is the part most people miss. While the case hinged on evidence or lack thereof, it sparks bigger debates about cultural clashes in tourism, fair compensation for service workers, and how power dynamics play out when everyday folks tangle with celebrities or officials. Was Mimun justified in holding on to the bags as leverage for what he saw as unpaid dues? Or does that cross into unacceptable territory? Some might argue it was a clever negotiation tactic, especially if the fare dispute felt like a rip-off. Others could see it as a breach of trust, potentially risking passenger safety by delaying essentials like luggage. What if, in a twist, the booking service mishandled the payment, leaving the driver genuinely out of pocket? It's the kind of gray area that invites heated opinions. So, dear readers, what's your take on this tangled tale? Do you side with the acquitted driver, believing he was just standing up for his earnings? Or do you think Lammy's status as a public figure made him an easy target for such demands? Perhaps the real issue is outdated payment systems in cross-border travel. What modern solutions could prevent these flare-ups? Share your thoughts, agreements, or disagreements in the comments below. We'd love to hear how you interpret this high-stakes taxi ride.